As it was in the beginning, so it shall be in the end. These words sent as prophecy to bend the course of history as we know it. We throw it back in the wind to a world filled with imperfect beings. It seems a lie, for we were born to die, so what are we doing with our lives in between? The cycle. And many uses the Bible as a sword in hand, but my weapon goes bang with a device from a trigger when I pull it. That release is a bullet that stings the soul as a sacrifice. Be nice, they tell me with my words to be true. But I feel like the virtues and vices outlined in Proverbs 16, verse 2. The ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord weigheth the spirit. To determine life or demise, I feel it, I feel the need to go against the division in religion without a decision on denomination, for I feel a sensation telling me my birth was for a reason. I was always an artist, myself art. So I started drawing, and then when that was broken out of me at 12 years old, it never left. The spirit of art never left me. So what happened was I just went from being an artist and a painter, because I got into painting as well, to now painting words with pictures. And then what I found was with words, I was becoming more extroverted. But I got more extroverted when I was on stage. In this life, I must grow from a mustard seed into a gigantic tree with many branches that will shelter the unsheltered with stanzas of life flows, because life knows hard times, welfare, homelessness, but instead switch and realize that better days are ahead. Yet so many march the military trail and set sail on hostile waters, while landmines known as day-to-day struggles seldom slaughters. It's about forward progress, so I profess that the same strife strangling the life out of daily desires sometimes leaves me nauseous. The things I took back from Jamaica, living there, in the early stages, we didn't have running water, things like that, which is fine. I mean, it's a lot of people's story in Jamaica anyway, growing up in the 70s and 80s. But that when I came here, and I remember when my dad asked my mom to bring us to take us here, and myself and my sister, and we agreed. When I came here, my dad had 2 water beds in his house. And I remember one of the first statements I said to him was, "You're rich." My first report card in art, I got 98%. The second one, I got 92%. The third one, I got 90%. The fourth one, I got 99%. And my dad just thought, well, what about math? Well, I don't really like math too much. That's why I'm getting 50s and 60s. But I like what I like. I like English. I got 100% one time. Don't you see that, Daddy? I don't really care about that. Your industrial arts class says you get 57%. That's not good enough for you to live in my house. Have a gift. You don't necessarily have to go to the gift. Because I wasn't calling poetry. I wasn't calling writing. I was just kind of there, not knowing what to do. But every time I sat down, so many thoughts were flowing through my head. I just started writing them down, and I found that they were coming out as poetry. And then I started loving the way the words would rhyme at the end, and how I can make a statement and make an impactful statement. And I started to write, and it just kept calling me. And there was a time in my life, between 24 and, how long was it? Between 24 and 25, yes, that's right, 24 and 25, for over a year, I didn't write anything. I didn't write not one word. I gave up on everything at one point. I just said, "Never have I seen the righteous forsaken, but many times in captivity taken. By force and violence the heavens was shaken and subdued. unlawful break-in, setting up systems to profane him. So I speak of my pain, knowing my salvation was in the making. When glory made the only begotten a curse, for cursed is he who hangs on a tree. Defamed man entered the portal of death as a lamb, emerging the conquering lion. I am. And you'll see that the bad things that happens to people's lives didn't start with them. If you go back a few generations, you'll notice it really started back there. And it just keeps perpetuating itself unto someone. And then things, no matter how good you're trying to be, things are falling apart around you. You're saying, why? What did I do? What did I do to deserve this? But it's not you. You didn't do anything to deserve it. But the iniquities of the fathers and the forefathers will be visited upon the generations after, just like the good of the forefathers will be visited. You know, so I look at it and I say, just like someone who's born in affluence. Did any prince or queen or anyone had anything to do with their heritage? No. Forefathers. And they just fell right into it. Bloop. That's right. So all of a sudden, they're royalty, not because they chose to be royalty, they were just born into it. So what I'm structuring right now for my children is power and authority and influence and affluence and everything great for generations to come, their children and their children's children. But Daddy starts it right here. I have a voice, and within this voice are many things, and many things have seen resilience beaming beyond the open fields of dust storms and gravel roads, cement lawns and shoveled loads of migraines, seeping between the cracks of my pains, and the days of light rain just never seems to come. And if they did, I just didn't notice. I was just too focused on defeating the failures yesterday served this man. So I stand on studying the past to understand where this man is coming from, so as to bask in tomorrow's sun and today's blue skies, life. It's about forward progress, so I profess that the same strife strangling the life out of daily desires sometimes leaves me nauseous, yet the seconds the sun is out never pauses, so I try